Hey guys, in this video I'm going to demonstrate how to knit a simple dish towel, which actually uses the same pattern as the simple knitted dishcloth that I demonstrated earlier in a different video. I provided that video link down below if you want to go back and just make a dishcloth. But the dishcloth pattern gives a square product, a square dishcloth, whereas this one here will give you a rectangular one. And then I've also put a little loop at the end to have something with which we could hang it by. So for this sample that I've shown here, I used a cotton blend yarn because that's what I had on hand. It's 85% cotton and 15% polyester. But ideally, I would recommend using 100% cotton yarn when making a dishcloth or a dish towel, just for the absorbent nature of the cotton. But I think with this one, because it has a high cotton percentage, I think it should work. And the towel is about 18 or 12 inches wide, so about a foot wide and about 18 inches long. And I just did that length primarily because I had 2 skeins of this yarn, so about 120 grams, about 4 ounces. You can certainly use more skeins and make it a longer dish towel if you want to. So you can adjust the length, adjust the width according to your preference. But I've provided the pattern down below in the description field, as well as all the materials that you will need for knitting this this sample that I'm showing you here. And the needles that I use for that are size 7. I'm using double pointed needles here for this demonstration, but you don't have to use double pointed needles. However, if you want to make this little I-cord loop at the end, you will need double pointed needles for that. But this is optional. You can choose to make different types of loops, and I'll talk more about that towards the end. So let's get started. You want to cast on 4 stitches using the cast on method of your choice. I'm using the long tail cast on here, and I've provided a link down below for a slower demonstration of this long tail cast on. And the very first row after you've cast on is just to knit the stitches across. So I'm going to go ahead and just knit these first 4 stitches. And then what we do is we increase a stitch on each row, just at one end, okay? So to do an increase, what we do is we knit the first 2 stitches, just regular knit. Then we bring the yarn over, so you bring the yarn between the 2 needles. And then with the yarn in the front, you're going to now knit the next stitch. Now you can see how that creates a new stitch. So we've actually increased 1 stitch right there. And then you're just going to knit all the remaining stitches, whatever is left. Okay? Then you turn your work and you repeat the same exact thing. So every row you're repeating the same thing. You're knitting the first 2 stitches. Then you bring the yarn over, and then you knit all the remaining stitches. And as you do that, your work will start to look like this. And you'll see how this was our cast on edge with the 4 stitches, and we've been increasing a stitch on either side. So you can see how it's flaring out like that. And at this point, both sides are going to be of an equal length, okay? So you can keep doing this. Now the pattern calls for you to do this till you get to 75 stitches on the needle. So you increase the work to 75 stitches. That's just because for my gauge, those number of stitches gave me the 12 inches width that I wanted. But you can keep knitting till you get to the point where one side of your dish towel measures the width of what you'd like. Okay, and it might be fewer than 60 or 75 stitches, or it could be more if you wanted to make it wider. But once you get to the desired width the number of stitches that gives you the desired width of the dish towel, at that point the pattern changes slightly, where what we're going to start doing now is we're going to increase on one end, on one row, but then on the next row we're going to decrease, because what we want to do is at this point we want to stop the increasing on this end, but we want to keep increasing it on this end to kind of make it a rectangle, right? So what I like to do, just so that I can keep track of which row is my increase row and which row is my decrease row, I like to go ahead and add a little or insert a little clip. You can use a clippy marker like this or just a safety pin. And this way I know that the end of my clippy marker, I'm still doing the increases. So the increases, the same exact thing. You're knitting the first 2 stitches, and then yarn over, and then you're going to knit all the stitches, the remaining stitches on the left needle. So that row we're still increasing. You just get to the end here, and then you flip your work, and now in the next row you're going to do the decreases. So to do a decrease, the pattern calls for knitting the first stitch, then you knit the next 2 stitches together. So insert your needle into both stitches as if to knit, okay, and just do a regular knit, drop both stitches off. That's a knit 2 together, and now yarn over, and then you do knit 2 together again. So again, you're inserting into the next 2 stitches, and with the yarn in the front, you are knitting 2 together. So now it looks like we've done a lot. We've done knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, but overall we've just actually decreased it by 1 stitch, because even though we decreased 2 stitches to 1 stitch here, we kind of made it up by doing this yarn over, and now we've done a decrease here. So overall, really just decreased it by 1 stitch. And then you knit all the way through. And that's how you do a decrease row on this pattern. And that's it. You're going to keep doing this. You're going to keep increasing on this end, and you're going to keep doing the decreases on the next row. So what will happen is your work will start kind of curving up at this end, because this width is not going to increase anymore since you're decreasing, and this length is going to keep increasing so that you get your rectangular shape. Okay, it's going to look a little weird as you keep doing it, because this end will kind of just keep going up, and this end will keep going up in this direction. So it might look a little bit weird, but it'll work out in the end. Now once you get to the point where you now have the desired length on this side of your dish towel, at that point you're gonna start doing a decrease row on either side. So once, let's say you've gotten to that point, and this is the length of your dish towel that you want. I know it still looks like a square. At that point you can take out the clippy marker, because now you're just going to be doing a decrease on either row. So at that point you'll do the decrease on both sides. So again, knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, and knit 2 together, and then do that properly, and then knit all the way through. Okay, and once you start doing that, what will happen is then your length side will also start decreasing, and eventually both sides will meet up. When you get to that point, you're just going to bind off those stitches. I've provided a link to casting off stitches if you just need a refresher for that. I figure everybody will know. If you've been knitting, you'll know how to cast off stitches. But if you decide at that point that you do want to make a loop, then I have provided a pattern on what to do there to make an I-cord. I have a separate video with a slower demonstration on how to make an I-cord. But remember, to make an I-cord, you will need double pointed needles. So if you've been using just regular needles to knit to the dishcloth at this point, to make the I-cord, you'll need to switch to double pointed needles of the same size, or close enough size, I would say, at this point, just for the cord. Or if you don't have the double pointed needles, you can just bind off, leave a long tail, and then using a crochet hook, you could make a little loop right there. Or just choose to bind it off, not have a loop at all, and the towel has holes here, so there's something to, if you want to hang it on a hook or something, you could use those to just hang it on a hook. And that's it. It's really simple. This towel knits up really quickly, so it might be a quick, fun weekend project, and you'll have something that you can use. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions or comments or suggestions for additional videos, please leave me a comment. If you like the video, please click the thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel, Knittycat's Knits, to be up to date on all my videos and projects. And again, if you have any ideas or suggestions, please let me know so I can try to work on those videos and provide more tutorials. Thank you for watching, and happy knitting!